Welcome everyone. Hey guys, it's Sark, and today we're going to be starting off something new with a brand new reaction video. And what are we reacting to? This fine fellow over here, Dr. Joff Lindsay. I'm pretty sure it's not pronounced Joff, it's Jeff. I'm sorry. We're just starting off with a little phonetic joke, I guess. Dr. Jeff Lindsay is a graduate of University College London and has a PhD from the University of California in Los Angeles, and has taught at UCL, Edinburgh, and Cambridge universities, and has a slew of other, well, all the good stuff, all the level ups, basically, all the upgrades you can get. This guy knows his stuff. So we're going to be looking at one of his videos here very specifically. This one right here, English speech rhythm, revealing how the Pink Panther teaches English rhythm. I'm kind of interested where we're gonna go with this. So, you know what? And I know you guys are looking at me. That you guys don't look at me like that. The fact that the Pink Panther is in this video has absolutely nothing to do with why I am reacting to this video. Let's actually pop this open.
Ask not what your
And get this
country
started.
can do for you.
Oh, there's the Pink Panther.
For you.
I made my previous video on English weak forms to demonstrate that they actually exist, because
Dr.
few
Lindsay.
people, native speakers or non-natives, realise how basic they are to English and how widespread. But that video didn't really go into how weak forms are actually pronounced and the role they play in the rhythm of the language. So let's get into that right now. English, like other languages, has content words and function words. Most words are content words. They have most of the meaning and make up the bulk of any dictionary. New content words appear all the time, like COVID. Now the function words are fixed. You could fit all of them on a page or two. But they're everywhere, connecting or specifying the content words.
These are all the tiny little words that we use.
Stressed and function words are typically unstressed. But what we're interested in is that many of the function words, not all, but many, go a step further and are usually pronounced with the colourless vowel schwa, even in careful.
Now this is gotta be the best of all the phonetics out there. Of all the letters, even the forgotten letters of the alphabet of English, this has got to be the best one out there. Schwa. Just Schwa. Your name is Schwa. Like, someone should probably go and name their kid Schwa. They don't do it. You'd probably get mocked terribly, but it's just such a Schwa. Yeah, it's got a very debonair air, very dapper, I would say. Schwa. And kind of looks like a E that's been rotated. Maybe that's why it's such a fun word. It's like the sharks. You know, when you flip sharks over, they kind of like it. But I'm digressing. Schwa.
Formal speech.
Across the Commonwealth and around the world, we have seen heartwarming stories of people coming together across the
Content words are
Let's
typically stressed
repeat
and
this.
function words are typically unstressed. But what we're interested in is that many of the function words, not all, but many, go a step further and are usually pronounced with the colourless vowel schwa, even in careful, formal speech.
across the Commonwealth and around the world, we have seen heartwarming stories of people coming together to help others.
So this is just to point out that using the schwa to pronounce those words, those particular type of words, is not the lazy way out. It is actually the proper way.
But probably the most important
Like even the Queen does it, right? So
thing about weak forms is something I didn't cover in my previous video.
this was probably recorded before her passing, I think. 1 month ago. So maybe not. Okay, let's continue. Sorry, let's move backwards a bit.
The important thing about weak forms is something I didn't cover in my previous video, and it's this. Weak forms are not independent words. You can't say them on their own. They have to be attached to a strong word, and the strong word typically follows, which means that weak forms are usually prefixes. Take the word today, which is day plus a prefix. Any dictionary will tell you that the prefix contains schwa, today.
Today.
It's a weak syllable,
Today.
so weak in fact that the schwa can even disappear. Today.
Today.
Well, to
Today.
do is generally pronounced the same way. The preposition to in its weak form is identical to the prefix on today. So, to do, to do.
To do.
I shall not have strength to carry out this resolution alone, unless you join in it with me, as I now invite you to do.
To do. To do. To do. To do. To. So, it's not to, it's to.
To do.
You can make the same
To
thing
do.
about together and to gather.
The sense of purpose we can find in coming together.
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 People of all faiths have been unable to gather. Together.
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 And it's the same with forgot.
Together. 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 It's the same. Here one. Forgot and forgot. Forgot and forgot.
And for God.
All will be well. For God
Will never be forgotten. Forgotten. Forgotten.
And conserve is typically pronounced like conserve.
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 Conserve. Conserve.
Conserve.
Conserve.
Conserve.
Conserve.
Conserve.
Conserve.
Oh, so they're both saying, they're either saying conserve or can serve, but they're saying it the same way, conserve and conserve.
So weak forms are not just pronounced with a different vowel. Typically, they're just a little bump or hiccup on the start of a following fully fledged stressed word. A book, the time, to go, for hours, of course, and now, from home, as soon than ever, but also that wins, can run, are out, there isn't, have left, was hot, were ill. And as we saw before, you can get more than one of these prefixes in a row.
I dreamt there was an emperor.
There was an, as, or you could also say there was an
emperor.
Technically, this prefixing is called cliticization.
Okay. Guys, I'm giving you a minute. I'm just going to give you a minute here. Yeah, just let it out. Just let it out. It's okay. It's a very, very serious word that could, well, I guess you could say it's very titillating. Oh boy. You know, there's other words in the English language that are really, really boring words, but sound kind of naughty. Now, you have this one here, which, like I said, sounds naughtier than it really is. How about orogeny? That would be O-R-O-G-E-N-Y, orogeny. It is the folding of tectonic plates that causes a uplift of mountains. Orogeny, orogenesis, orogenes, orogeny. So yeah, you fold the tectonic plates under the earth and it causes a upthrust of an erogenous zone where mountains get erected. Very boring subject. All right, let's keep going.
Of course, it isn't shown in writing, and writing is usually prioritized when non-natives learn English. So non-native English is often characterized by these forms.
So just to point out, I've always said it before, some of you who know me know this. But English is not spoken as it is written. It is not. It is different. Spoken English is definitely a different beast from written English.
When non-natives learn English. This prefixing is called cliticization. Of course, it isn't shown in writing.
Are you guys done? Are you guys done? Let's get past this part, okay?
And writing is usually prioritized when non-natives learn English. So non-native English is often characterized by these forms being pronounced not as little prefixes, but as fully fledged words. Now, if you're speaking English to us natives, you're not really helping us by constantly directing our attention to words we usually criticize. For us, it's like putting a big distracting frame around the Mona Lisa.
Huh. Now that you mention it, I think I know of a good example. One sec, I can pull this up. Alright, we're gonna absolutely ruin this joke, by the way. So for those of you who have not seen this next clip, I recommend you check it out. I'll leave the link for it down below in the comments. In addition, I'll probably pin it up there with the with Dr. Lindsay's other videos and channels. I'll put a link up there. So if you haven't seen this already, I am gonna absolutely ruin this joke. So that's your warning. Go check it out beforehand. And one thing I will do is not do that. Is hide it down here, because if you guys see the full screen, it'll give the joke away. So let's play this.
Fun fact, in Australia, we only have the grades 1 to 5, and in Germany, they have the grades 1 to 6.
So she is from Europe and a non-native speaker. Her name is Kiara, and I believe she's a chicken, definitely poultry. And she is speaking to Gura, who is a fish. I believe a fish. Let's repeat that.
Fun fact, in Australia, we only have the grades 1 to 5, and in Germany, they have the grades 1 to 6. Where's the rest of them? Where's 3, 4? 1 to 6, 1 to 5?
So given the context of what we've been listening to here, can you guys tell what the problem is? Let's max this out, and we're going to repeat this.
Fun fact, in Australia, we only have the grades 1 to 5, and in Germany, they have the grades 1 to 6. In Germany...
So there's an issue here. There's a mistranscription going on, because she is not saying 2, 2-0. She is saying 2, the number 2, TWO. And let's just turn on the closed captioning on this and see what it says. What does the closed captioning say?
In Australia, we only have the grades 1 to 5, and in Germany, they have the grades 1 to 6. Where's the rest of them? Where's 3, 4? 1 to 6, 1 to 5?
Yeah, she literally did say 1 to 6 and 1 to 5, the numbers. The numbers 1 to 6 and the numbers 1, 2, and 5. That's what we heard. However, that's not what the clip was telling us. Let's watch this to the end, or towards the end.
You didn't say 3, 4. Wait, did I mess up?
No, you did not mess up, Gura.
No,
she said 2. Yeah, she said 2. Kiara said 2. She is like super confused.
Okay, so
there.
I haven't. Okay, so what I meant is, I give you the benefit of the doubt that you still don't understand what I'm talking about. Is that we have in Australia, we have the grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is 1 to 5.
So she literally pronounces 2, TWO, the number 2, exactly the same way she pronounces 2, TO, ta, ta. Instead of ta, it's 2. I'm gonna minimize this guy a little bit, and I'm gonna move this guy over here, which is a closed captioning plugin. And we'll see. This is actually uses this is a OBS plugin, and it uses Google's API to pick up what I'm saying or what is being said and transcribes it, closed captions it basically, and it really works well with proper native English. If you have an accent, it will get a bit fuzzy. It'll have a hard time understanding. But one of the nice things about this is it does use context to kind of figure out if it's not understanding a word, then it'll try to get the context of what you're trying to say. So we're going to turn this on and see if it's working. Now, this does actually work best if you do have the closed captioning turned on YouTube, on the YouTube video as well. This should be the very same type of captioning as it's using the same AI or algorithm. So let's test this out. In Austria, we have the grades 1 to 6 and the grades 1 to 5. So this one actually managed to understand what I'm trying to say. What if I try to say it more naturally? In Austria, we have the grades 1 to 5, and in Germany, we have the grades 1 to 6. I might have gotten those numbers mixed around, but you get it. Now here's the thing. How about in Austria, we have the grades 1 through 6, and in Germany, we have the grades 1 through 5. And I think that is better. I think it looks like the algorithm understood that a little bit better, got what I was meaning. But yeah, I've never actually heard, I won't say never, but it's so rare to hear to, T-O, ta, being used in a sentence with numbers involved. It's usually left out of that. In this particular context, through would be a lot better and would have been absolutely clear to all involved what the context was. So this particular reaction has been brought to you in collaborations with the hashtag Gura did nothing wrong, and the hashtag Gura am not dumb, and the hashtag Kiara said too, and finally in collaboration with the hashtag 126125. I think there's definitely some collusion between the makers of this clip and Kiara here. It's definitely collusion and poultry propaganda. By the way, that is a joke. You can tell that it's a joke because I used hashtags.
Too soon.
I got what?
Twitter's not dead.
What do you mean it's too soon for Twitter jokes?
Soon.
It's not too soon. Okay, we're going to continue on with Dr. Jeff Lindsay. I just thought that would be a
distinctions that we make. Non-natives may pronounce this as off course, simply directing our attention to.
So that was just an example of how The way non-native English is spoken can be extremely confusing to native speakers, and perhaps vice versa as well. And that was a pretty good example of that.
For us, it's like putting a big distracting frame around the Mona Lisa, and often it blurs distinctions that we make. Non-natives may pronounce this as of course, which is the way natives pronounce this. The words off and on don't have weak forms, but the possessive preposition of is usually just a tiny prefix, of course, or left out altogether. Of course it is.
Spacebot drone ship, of course, spacebot drone ship, of course, I love you, of course, I love you.
In fact, most of the weak forms are in contrast with strong forms that mean something else. Contrasts that are eliminated by speaking clearly. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to talk more about all the ways weak forms are used by native speakers to make meaningful distinctions. Now, for many
How about, I got one for you. Off of a. Off of a. Off of a. Off of a. That's 3 words that turn into a clitic. Off of a.
natives, it doesn't come at all naturally to transform what look like normal separate words into little prefixes. So for those non-natives who actually want to copy the native patterns, I often enlist the help of a figure who's very well known around the world. The Pink Panther has a theme tune
I'm actually
composed by the
related to
great
him.
Henry Mancini, and it uses a pattern of little unstressed notes prefixed to stressed notes or beats. The tune's similarity to the pattern weak forms make is nicely demonstrated by an internet meme about the Pink Panther's to-do list, which consists of to do,
To do,
to do,
to do,
to do,
to do, to do, to do, to do.
The tune, like most popular songs, is based simply on 4 beats, repeated like in marching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, etc. To make this into the Pink Panther theme, we remove beats 2 and 4 from the first half. 1 gap, 3 gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then, before each of these beats, we attach a little unstressed prefix, like weak and 1 gap, and 3 gap, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And now we can insert any weak strong pair of syllables like to do, gap, to do, gap, to do, to do, to do, to do, to do.
1 to 6, 1 to 5. I think I'm belaboring the point.
And now we can insert any weak strong pair of syllables like to do, gap, to do, gap, to do, to do, to do, to do, to do.
As I now invite you to do, to do, to do, to do, to do, to do, to do.
Or for you, gap, for you, gap, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you.
Ask not what your country can do for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you.
This is actually kind of really good editing.
Of course, gap. Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course. Compare that with this Polish speak.
Just, I gotta ask, Doctor, are you doing your own editing here, or do you have you have someone really good at it? This is really, really good stuff, by the way. Speaking as someone who does all my own stuff, which sucks, but you know, I try my best. This is really, really good.
Pronouncing of course with a strong of.
Of course, of course, of course, of course, of course.
It's not quite the same, is it? Notice how the native speaker there, like JFK, gestures on the beat. Even if someone's first language doesn't have English type stress at all, like French or Japanese, everyone can feel musical beats. I find that the Pink Panther tune shows how to pronounce any weak form connected to the beat that follows and without a beat of its own. But it can teach us even more. If we take just the second half of the tune, we have 5 weak strong pairs. Anyone who's studied English poetry knows what this is. It's called iambic pentameter.
And we're into Shakespeare.
I don't know whether Henry Mancini had this consciously in mind or not, but it's the basic...
The Pink
meter of
Panther
English
and
poetry,
Shakespeare.
used most famously, of course, by William Shakespeare.
If music be the food of love, play on.
What? Wait.
Poetry knows what this is. It's called iambic pentameter.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
Shakespeare.
whether Henry Mancini had this consciously in
It's how you
mind or
speak
not,
Shakespeare.
but it's the basic meter of English poetry, used most famously, of course, by William Shakespeare.
If music be the food of love, play on.
There was an edit in there. Very subtle. It's just a quick speed up.
If music be the food of love, play.
There, where he nods his head there, that's sped up by probably a fraction. Just a little bit. It's probably that it's not perfectly in sync with the beat, so you just chopped off I'm guessing just a pause. There might have been like a dramatic pause in there, just to make it match up. But it does bring the point. Let's hear it again.
By William Shakespeare.
If music be the food of love, play on.
Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown.
Oh, that one matched up perfectly.
Easy lies the head that wears a crown.
Macbeth.
The poor player that struts and frets his hour up on the stage.
Oh, that matched up perfectly as well. That was crazy.
When we have shuffled off this molten coil.
Wow, okay.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
That sounds like there's a slight cut in there, a slight edit also.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?
Yeah, just to match up.
And Brutus is an honorable man.
The course of true love never did run smooth.
Now, we don't know exactly how weak
Some of those
forms
are a bit
work
of a
in
stretch, but
Shakespeare's
yeah, we get the
time,
point.
but Schwa has been around in English for centuries. Now, we don't know exactly how weak forms worked in Shakespeare's time, though Schwa has been around in English for centuries. What we can see is how often our weak forms show up in Shakespeare's weak syllables. The food of love that struts and frets have shuffled off, the head that wears a crown, and but soft would smell as sweet, more sinned against than sinning, and of course, to be or not to be. So when we use weak forms, when we turn these function words into mere prefixes, we're not speaking casually or rapidly or lazily, we're adapting them to the basic traditional rhythm of the language. This rhythm...
It also provides context, which we went over earlier in the video, but yeah, I agree.
...is natural in English speech. It's true that Shakespeare used archaic words, but rhythmically the language hasn't changed, and even genuine pentameter turns up by accident from time to time. This rhythm's natural in English speech. It's true that Shakespeare used archaic words, but rhythmically the language hasn't changed, and even genuine pentameter turns up by accident from time to time. Please like, subscribe and click the little bell. Anyway, if you'd like to...
Oh, that's pretty good. That was awesome, actually. I got one for you. How about this? Like water off of a duck's back. See what I did there? Like water off of a duck's back. And you can probably put some Pink Panther music to the background of that. Like water off of a duck's back.
To know how to put the accent on the right word in Shakespeare's most famous line, this is the video to watch next.
And there are much more videos to watch from his channel. Guys, I really recommend. Very, very informative. Go check out his channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed your time here and enjoyed this little reaction. We might actually go check out some of his other videos. Of course, we'll be doing more reactions in the future, and I really hope that Dr. Jeff Lindsay did not get offended by this. Thank you very much for creating your video. It was enlightening. Again, thank you very much.
Hello, this is a message from Roof Green's Pharmacy. We're calling to inform you that your analgesic cream is ready. Goodbye.